Hello everyone, I hope that you are doing fine, and in this short video I want to give you an overview about my home studio setup that I have built over the last 2 to 3 weeks. Currently I'm speaking to you through a Sony A6400 camera. I'm using here a Sigma 16 millimeter lens, quite powerful, with an aperture of 1.4. Currently I'm using here a setting of 2.0, which gives me a quite nice picture. A little blurry in the background means you can't see quite nicely my Locutus of Borg mask, so this is a quite nice bokeh effect. From a sound perspective, I'm using here a professional TPA 6066 headphone. That one is very light, so more or less I don't feel it that I have that mic on my head. One disadvantage, not really a disadvantage, but one challenge with such microphones is that you can't attach them through a traditional USB cable to your computer, because they are using XLR input connectors. Means I also have in the background, you can't see it here, but in the background I have a Focusrite Scarlett unit which accepts an XLR input and outputs just a traditional USB connection for your computer. Means I'm using here also an XLR cable. I will just unplug it a second for you. In the meantime you can't hear me, but just to give you an overview what cables I'm using here. So I'm again back, you should hear me again. So this is my audio setup. So that mic is really powerful, means you don't really hear the background noise like the fans which are blowing in my AMD Ryzen system, which is driving everything that you see here. So this is my first Sony A6400 camera. I have a second one which I also want to show you, which is in front of me. So it's just in the front of my main screen. In my whole setup I'm using three 27-inch screens. The main one I'm using for PowerPoint, remote desktop connection to my various VMs that I'm using. The right monitor is more or less my control monitor, where I have Task Manager on it, OBS Studio, a few other tools that I'm using, and the left one is a cheaper one, the left monitor, and the left one is just used to share the output of OBS to a third application like for Zoom calls or GoToMeeting that I'm using for my online videos. So as you can see here, I'm using here a remote desktop connection to a VM that I'm running here. This is just a dummy script that I have used here to set up everything. So as you can see, when we browse through that script, it's quite nice to see. On that additional Sony A6400 camera, I'm using also a Sigma lens, but this time with 30 millimeters. Means it's not a wide angle lens anymore, and really good for that setup, because I just want to show my face and nothing more. In the background, you can't see it now, I'm using also an Alligator green screen, which I have mounted just on the top. Means I can just pull it down when I need it. When I don't need it anymore, I pull it up and it's gone. So quite powerful. I'm also using two Alligator streamlights, one on the left hand side in that direction, the other one on the right hand side in that direction. Means it shows my face quite nicely, my nice hair. well, almost no hairs anymore, but doesn't matter these times, because getting haircuts in Corona times is also very, very hard. So when you don't have that much hair anymore, it's just easier these days. So this is, for example, one scene that I'm using. Another one is for PowerPoint. So when we go back to PowerPoint, as you can see, I'm using again the other Sony A6400 camera, through which I have spoken initially to you. But in this scene, I'm just using it a little bit different. So for example, I have here just one sample presentation from me, so I can go here through that presentation quite easy. Quite nice setup. Maybe I'm tweaking a little bit more the whole scene setup of my various OBS scenes, but by now I don't have any good idea about that one. So more or less, the most expensive part were the two Sony A6400 cameras with the two Sigma lenses, and also the DPA 6066 headphone headset together with the Focusrite Scarlett unit, which accepts XLR input connections. As I've said previously, I'm powering everything through my AMD Ryzen system, which I have bought back in August last year, mainly for test driving Microsoft Flight Simulator. But I've also decided to use now that very, very powerful machine to drive my whole setup here, because I've tried it initially with my MacBook Pro. It is a 13-inch from the year 2019, but driving the two cameras and everything, more or less, the MacBook has a lot of work to do. You hear the fans blowing in the background, not really through the headset, but it wasn't really perfect, so I thought, why not use the AMD Ryzen system to drive my whole streaming and online training setup. So more or less I will use that setup for online trainings, which I'm doing regularly. I will also maybe try to do some live streams. I haven't yet tried that, so let's see how that will work. And in addition, I can also use that setup to record my online training videos that I'm selling on demand on my website, also in a more professional setup. As you might know, I have published some years ago my famous and traditional SQL Server quickies, but recording and editing those SQL Server quickies, it was quite challenging, because I had to set up the whole gear, I had to set up the green screen and everything, and these days it's quite easy, because everything is quite easy to start and also to remove when I don't need it anymore. As you can see in that setup, I have here on the left or right side, in that case on the right side, of my green screen, and when I don't need that green screen anymore, I can just put it up. I will do that. So as you can see, it just goes up, it's gone, and therefore, it's quite easy to do online recordings, online trainings, and also it's quite easy to record professional training videos, which I'm selling online. I will also publish in the next few days a more detailed blog posting about my whole setup, so just check out my website at sequelpassion.at, and if you have further comments or further questions, you can then comment on that blog posting, and I will also try to answer those questions for you. So thanks for your time, stay safe, and hopefully we will see each other very soon again. Thank you.